It's a great day for yet another weekly Q&A session. If you're wondering what this is or where this is coming from, it is a similar setup to the weekly live streams, except of course, instead of being live, it is pre-recorded, and we field questions over here from Discord, which you can actually join and contribute to for 100% free, by the way, with the link in the description below to Discord. And if you do want priority, you can join the members section on YouTube as well. We'll start it off with a very quick Bitcoin analysis. Let me find my chart right here. There we go. And yeah, yesterday's analysis, obviously on the short and medium term timeframes, massively wrong. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. Yesterday would be a great example of when I am wrong. But after being wrong, it is important to be right. So in this case, what has changed with Bitcoin popping up actually to a high of yesterday of basically $99,000? Well, it does solidify Bitcoin's lows very likely being in. That doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't, come back down and retest around those lows. To be honest, I'd actually be rather defensive against that. But, for now, Bitcoin probably does extend this rally a little bit more before a potential pullback, but I do believe that next pullback is probably going to be the opportunity. Again, I know I'm sounding maybe a little bit crazy with that, but I do suspect, it will happen at some point before this month is over. Of course, looking at this right here, we do see that the 50% retracement level is directly in alignment with that last rejective high from the 26th of December. So, Bitcoin probably find its way somewhere around there. Probably would be looking for a pullback as well from that region. However, I would be again defensive against a high being put in somewhere. I guess there, $100,000 essentially, all the way up to the 6.8 level, which is $102,000. And like I said, I know it sounds crazy, but I still think that, you might get something like this. But instead of Bitcoin going into the upper 80s, because before we were having to target somewhere around about 88,000, that's going to be moved up significantly, maybe like 94, 95,000 bucks, something like this, I think is still very much possible here. That also fulfill very likely a test of the 55 on CME there as well. And, you would have your inverted herp and derp. So fair enough. Many paths that this can take. And of course, the higher term timeframe look is still unchanged. So while yesterday's short-term analysis was wrong, higher term timeframe still take precedence here. And what is the main thing that we were going over this past week with regards to the bi-monthly chart? It is this. Before February 28th, I have a minimum target that Bitcoin will see at least $114,000. That doesn't mean that Bitcoin must be 114 on February 28th. It just means before February 28th, Bitcoin very likely sees at least 114,000. That means, it could be more. It could be it could be earlier as well. Many paths that this can take. But I'd still be defensive against, one more swing to the downside, but not into the 80s now. I think yesterday's move was significant. If Bitcoin was going to break into the 80s, I do think that we would have seen Bitcoin really stall around about 97,500 bucks, and that didn't happen. All right, cool. Now let's get on to the actual queue of this of this Q&A, and we'll start it off over here in the YouTube's member section. And by the way, I've already started the new thread as well for the members, and we'll start it off with I Sky Ski. Happy New Year to you and Elsa. Happy New Year to you as well, sir. Happy 2025. Hopefully it's a good one, man. Hopefully it's a good one. All right. When doing analysis on multiple timeframes to gauge changes in market direction, excuse me. How do you personally decipher when low-term time frame shifts in direction will cascade into the higher-term time frames versus the lower-term time frames just, fluctuating around, but the higher-term time frame trend remains? There's probably no perfect answer to this, but you seem to have an intuition on these things, unlike many traders I've seen. That's very nice. I guess what do you look for as a tipping point that cascades will follow into a higher time frame? Yeah. It is kind of difficult to explain in plain English, and I've really realized that recently with these sort of things, because I'm trying to train an AI model on just shit that I know, and there's a lot of nuance to it, I guess, and I don't know if I have a good systematized way to do it. It's difficult, as you did identify. But one way that one thing that I would keep in mind, or at least sort of my working thesis right now, is that, let's say, you're looking at a 4-hour, a 12-hour, and a daily. So all of these timeframes are divisible by each other. It's just three and then 2. So they're all kind of related to each other. So we can use these as like a data set, if you will, meaning that the 4-hour trend can theoretically lead into the 12-hour or the daily. But here's the thing. The reason why this is really difficult is because you actually have it inverted. The higher term time frame is really what sets the trend, and then the lower term time frames set the sort of corrections within that trend a lot of the time. But to judge a reversal before it happens is very fucking difficult. So one of the ways that I will kind of look at that is, like, let's say there's a momentum pivot on a lower term time frame that would essentially make a higher term time frame. If it failed that momentum pivot, for example, then it would essentially confirm like a local high or a local low, and that would be again like the next successive local low or local high that essentially reverses the trend. If you see something like that, then yes, that can work. But like I said, it's difficult, and it just kind of takes an eye of doing this. I mean, look, I'll give you the answer that you probably don't want to hear. If you look at this shit for 15 years straight, every day for 8 to 10 hours, or probably even more than that most of the time, you're gonna figure something out over time. Other than that, actually, that sort of thing is actually quite difficult for me to answer because I don't have a good systematized answer for that. Anyways, I'll try better on this next one right here. We have Cousin Burley says, congrats on 200,000 crown. Appreciate that, man. Way to start the new year. Fuck yeah, dude. AFRM stock on the daily and weekly. Okay. AFRM. This is some sort of, NAS stock, I guess. Okay. All right. So I see that it has gone under a very long form accumulation right here from 22 basically to end of 24. Getting its first major pop up. I'm guessing it's probably around a 50% level from the last major breakdown. Let's see. No, it's actually at the 618. This one to me seems like it's reversing into like a macro uptrend. Obviously the weekly is reversed into an uptrend. Let's see what the monthly has done. Yeah, the monthly also has a higher low and a higher high. So I do think that it's relevant to look at this one as overall switching into a macro uptrend. The question is, can or will this one put in a local high right here, come back down, set another higher low at 53.5 or so, and then try another move to the upside, or will it just move up from here? I would say I'd be more on the side of this one, very likely retracing first before further continuation, which again would still just be a higher low and ultimately drive things higher, from there. But I'd be running with this as an assumption as long as this thing is below about $73, basically the last high that you see from Monday of a couple of weeks ago on the 16th. So, somewhere around there, as long as whatever the hell this thing is, a firm is below, I treat this as likely to pull back a little bit more, but go for the weekly higher low. The reversal looks real. All higher term timeframes kind of switching up. So to me, that's a good sign. And it's just the lower term timeframes here that are, I guess, a little bit in limbo with this consolidation. But again, just using the high of this consolidation, as long as you're below there, I do think that there's more of a potential for a pullback here, down to like 53 or something like that, maybe 54, something like that. All right. Moving on, we have Arms Private. He says, happy 2025, sir. Happy 2025 to you as well. Solana versus Ethereum. Can this bounce become a reversal? Let's check it out. Sol, ETH. I think last I looked at this, it had topped, and I'd say it still is topped. But you are specifically asking, can this bounce become so you're looking at this bounce on like a lower term time frame and saying, can this be a reversal back onto the upside? I do think it's a lot less likely. When you compare the daily time frame with the monthly, for example, I mean, this I think is clearly going to get follow through to the downside. In the coming months. I mean, we're seeing momentum turn down on the monthly as well from very, very high levels. But in the short term, can this bounce more? Yeah, absolutely. It can bounce a lot more. In fact, maybe up to like 0.67, perhaps even all the way up to like 0.07. But as long as you're below about 7.25, just this area right here, let's say, as long as you're below this area right here, I'd be looking at this bounce as, well, just that, a bounce, putting in yet another lower high, or not another lower high, but putting in a lower high and then carrying on with the monthly reversal. That's kind of what I'd be looking at for something like this. All right, moving on, we have, let me just make sure things are working properly over here. Take some sippies of my energy drink, my energy cocktail. All right. Cousin Burley says, on your live, you analyze Bitcoin daily 5 EMA crossing below the 21 on an uptrend with a 55 target. What, if any, implied targets are there on the inverse? Okay, so that's actually a really good question. But I think if you thought this through, then you'd see why it doesn't really make sense. So let's say that they're all still in an uptrend, meaning that the 21 is above the 55. If the 5 then crosses, the lower period then crosses above the 21, there is no moving average target for that. It's just in trending motion. Like, that's your uptrend continuation. So that's just letting you know that things are, well, trend continuation from there. Just if it's an uptrend, just continue to look up. And it's really when the 5 crosses below the 21 that you get a tangible corrective signal, which in some cases is already played out. In many cases, though, it does go not just to the 55, but actually below the 55, maybe even closer to the 89. So yeah. Anyways, Martin Sean Hunt says, hello, sir. Assuming Bitcoin gets the one more move lower, looks like I'm probably going to be wrong on that, man. Would you expect the stronger alts to be making higher lows versus the lows from the 30th? Yeah. In general, I think strong alts are going to do really, really well here. Not all alts, but strong alts. We've been looking at this Bitcoin dominance chart. Again, I don't think it's the best metric of all time, but it gets the job done for this particular purpose. And the highs are in. The highs are in. This thing is moving down. The LARP lines, or my LARP lines aren't on here. Well, let's do a new LARP line. It was something like this, came up to like 58 and then down. I think that this one probably makes new lows from here. Probably at some point finds its way down like a little bit below 50, like 48-ish. But obviously that can take a lot of time. So, these strong alts are going to probably do phenomenally well. Maybe not all alts, but even the weaker alts, of course, they will get bounces. Just they're not going to reverse into like uptrends or nothing like that. And I think this is something that is becoming, again, really fucking clear this cycle. And it's weird to me to see people just assume that any and every alt, whether it's like a 2017 alt or like the new hot shit, is going to go to the moon and beyond on an alt season. No, we've never actually really seen that except for 2017. So I just don't expect that to occur. I think that you're going to get bounces on some of the shitty alts, but you're not going to get these massive trending moves. Certainly not to prior all-time highs. But the strong ones are already making all-time highs, and they're just going to eat up the strength off of this right here and do phenomenally well. And they're going to be such big winners that they're going to drag that down, while the other alts don't really do all that much. That's kind of my general thinking. Anyways, can you take a look at Fartcoin on the 4-hour daily? Yes. A much more pertinent question. Let's look at farts. One fart equals one fart still. Let's see. Actually, here's an example of a strong alt. It's gone to the moon and beyond a couple times here, it looks like. I think we looked at this one on this week's live stream. We said, hey, the trend is your friend. And in this case, the trend is indeed your friend. And I'd be looking for this one to continue upwards and onwards as long as daily stochastic momentum is pointed northwards, which it will be as long as it's above $1. And it's right now it's trading at 143. So probably likely. Let's see, what would the next sort of areas of interest be? Well, you're kind of at one right now at 150, or got to 150. So maybe it spends a little bit of time having a short-term consolidation here, but I would be looking for this one to very likely make a move towards 177 or so. Let me actually do this. Oh, I am on the regular scale. So yeah, 177 would be the next major area of interest. And then if things get really crazy, I guess, a little bit above $2 is what I'd be looking for. But yeah, just a nice steady uptrend. Again, a good example of a strong alt, which is massively dragging this equation down here with the Bitcoin dominance chart. At least that's my take. All right. Let's see. Crypto Rect RD says, Dear Sir Crown, Happy New Year to you, to Elsa and you. Thank you, sir. Happy New Year to you as well, sir. With Bitcoin, high probability correction between 85 to 9. Man, I'm going to look so fucking stupid for saying this now. In the coming weeks, I do still think that you could get a correction down to like mid 90s, maybe even low 90s. But I do think with yesterday's move, an 8 handle in price action is a lot less likely. Anyways, can I please request to provide an outlook on corrective range? Well, I think I have to revise the preliminary sort of assumption here. So I don't know if this is going to be relevant. Maybe we could just go over a couple of these and see. Like, oh, holy shit, this thing's at $5. Jesus. You know, this thing's continuing. It's not correcting. That's the problem. I think it's going to make new highs before you see before you see like a real correction. You know, this thing can run to like 5.5, 570 easily. But when it does correct, probably comes back down kind of where it's at right now, maybe like $4.50, somewhere around there. Tries for another higher low. So that's what I'd say about that for SUI. If you're looking at OM or PAL, let's go to PAL. I think OM is like a prior cycle shitcoin too. This one, not as strong as SUI, obviously, because it's not making new all-time highs. But, well, yeah, it's not the strongest of all. Also, not the weakest as well. Again, this one probably works way back up to somewhere around these range highs from May, which is 50 to 55 cents. Yeah, probably corrects from there, and maybe comes down around where it's at right now. But with the way that yesterday's price action kind of evolved, I'm going to be wrong about Bitcoin seeing an 8 handle. Like I said, I still do think that there's going to be a pullback, like a last ditch pullback, but it's going to be shallow. It's going to be a lot more shallow. So yeah. Anyways, and we'll do OM as well, I guess. Let's just see. I guess these are rather fast, but yeah, another one. Actually, this one's at all-time highs as well. Again, another example of a strong one. This one very likely retest the current highs. I think it probably makes new highs from there, but this one's really fucking hot in terms of like in terms of like this current rally. So to me it's like, okay, can you really be looking for a significant move to the upside from this base? I guess if it breaks above $4.50, you're probably looking, you're certainly looking above 5, but maybe closer to like 5.5, 6 actually could get really fucking crazy. But again, would actually have to break above 4.5. I do think that you will get a test around there. I just wouldn't assume that it's going to be a breakout. But holding sideways here, consolidating does bode well for the long term. It's just, I think that this consolidation can drag on for a while. Anyways, last one for the YouTube community. We have a lot of people joining in the YouTube community now. Just comment. There is a narrative that ETFs drive spot price. Okay. But the Bazina boys put their focus on exchange volume. Well, these are going to be the same thing, essentially. These are going to show up in kind of the same ways, I think. Example, today, the ETFs are down about 1.5 against Bitcoin spot. ETF is down, Bitcoin is up. Well, the ETF flows might be down, but is the ETF itself actually down? Well, let me actually just verify this statement. So where's my IBIT? Where's my IBIT? There it is. Okay. No, see it. Yeah. Close the day up 1%. No, you're going to see these things play hand in hand. I think you might be getting confused with the flows versus like actual price. Anyways, from a volume point of view, this cycle seems to be much more quiet than prior cycles. Okay. Maybe hitting some big volume and liquidation numbers at the peaks, but it just feels more quiet at this point in the cycle. Would you say that is accurate? We don't need to know what's accurate or not. We can actually verify this. So let me go over here. Let's get some volume metrics. So one of the mistakes a lot of people make when looking at volume for crypto specifically is that they don't, especially when you're looking at Bitcoin over a very long period of time, you would be looking at this and you'd be like, oh shit, the volume really is tailing off, over time. That is true. You can see it in the bottom pane right here. But the problem is that we're not comparing like with like right now. When you're looking at volume on the Bitcoin index or basically anything that's not like the inverse perps, you're looking at volume represented not in US dollars, but in Bitcoins traded. So naturally, when Bitcoin's here, essentially at $100,000, you don't need to trade as many coins, literal Bitcoins, to get the same sort of risk if you wanted, as when price was down here at 10,000, for example. So we would expect this to tail off over time. But if we were to compare like with like, we could actually do that with the inverse perps chart right here on Bybit. Unfortunately, this also kind of leaves a lot to be desired, because a lot of the volume is really, is really, what's it called? Spread out between exchanges, especially when you see a lot of these exchanges, ban users over time, or not ban users, but ban countries over time. It makes it very difficult. If we had like one massive index to just look at, I think that would be rather illuminating. And I would assume that we'd see volume actually trending up over time, just as more people get involved. That would make a lot more sense to me. But yeah, unfortunately, we don't have that right now. So it makes it very, very difficult to see exactly what that would be. But yeah, all right, let's see. Okay, let's go over here to the Discord community. I am now 20 minutes into this video already. We'll see how long we can go, how far my energy drink will take me. Oh, it's good. Oh, I should actually post another thread here as well. So I'll do that right now. I'll lock this one, boom. And let's see, today's January 4th, Q&A. New post, boom, post, and let everyone know. New Q&A live. All right, cool. Okay, whoops, there we go. All right, we have Wonder first. He says, I wonder what's the very strong very strong username to post content ratio, bro. I wonder what's the best question to ask here. Just enjoy the content and want to say Merry Christmas. Thanks, man. Butthole coin on Solana. Well, it's butthole coin. Okay, there is an actual butthole coin. Well, if we can look at it on TradingView, I guess I'll look at it. Not a bad chart. I'm not going to hate an uptrend. It is a very new thing, so I wouldn't really put too much weight on this. Maybe it pulls back from this prior high, but I'd just be looking for a higher low if it does, somewhere around like 1,300, 1,200-ish region. Again, that's only if it does. This is a fucking 4-hour time frame. It doesn't really mean that much. I mean, higher term time frames can very easily continue from here. Other than that, it's been around for less than a week. So I'm going to go ahead and say probably not enough or there's not enough data for me to really give a real analysis on that. Anyways, we have, let me actually get rid of this, Hamia. Hey, Crown, what do you think January will be like for both Bitcoin and alts, both before Trump's inauguration and once he's been inaugurated? Well, I mean, I think I've kind of made my thoughts known with Bitcoin's trajectory, especially based off of yesterday's price action. I think that, it might continue even above $100,000 here, maybe closer to 102. And I still think that there will be probably a pullback from there, but it's not going to be under $90,000, or at least very unlikely. And alts, I think I've made my thoughts on this, hopefully pretty clear earlier as well. But just going back on over it, this is coming down. But like I said, I don't think all alts are going to be massive winners. Yes, they will get bounces. They might even be decent percentage bounces, but most of them are not going to reverse into macro uptrends that make new all-time highs. The ones that are already around all-time highs or making new all-time highs or have made new all-time highs at some point in the cycle, those are the strong ones. Those are the ones that are going to be the big winners, most likely. Like it should be really, really obvious when you see a good chart, just generally goes up. If you have one of those for this cycle, it's probably going to be one of the crowned ones in terms of winners. Anyways, Etcha says, hi, Sir Crown. Hello, sir. BMX on Binance daily and weekly targets, please. Like daily and weekly targets. Don't know if that means exactly what you think it means. Let's first get a bigger look on this one. Yeah, not in the super strong category, not in the super weak category. Do you think it is putting in a higher low here on the weekly? Do you think it will at some point move back around this prior high at like 3.5 cents or so? As far as daily goes, more or less in a range. Here's your range lows, 2.5 cent. Here's your range highs, 3.25 cent. Break above 3.25. This one should retest the highs a little bit above 4 cents. Probably makes new highs on the rally if that is satisfied. But for now, I'd really be looking for this thing to kind of go sideways in here for a little bit of time. Maybe test the top side, pop back down, set in a higher low, kind of similar to Bitcoin, but still hold the range low and then try another move to the upside. It's kind of where I'm at with most things. Anyways, moving on, we have Wonder. He's back. Molecule on Solana. I'm sure this one has tons of price action history as well. Also, not on TradingView, so we're not going to be looking at that one, sir. EMS Rectoff says, "Good morning, sir. Crown and Elsa. Good morning to you as well. Love your content and consistency. It's really OCD, is what it is. It's really an obsession, an obsessive compulsion. Could you take a look at Galaxy Digital? Yeah, this trades on Canadian exchanges, right? GLXY. Yeah, it does. It does trade on Canadian exchanges. Good. We have a higher low. We have continuation of trend. We have momentum turning back up above $26. It is literally trading $3.50 almost above that pivot. So not bad. Weekly is also continuation as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see this one march up into the mid 30s, like 30, 35 to 37-ish region in the coming month or two. Monthly looks strong as hell. I think this one is also strongly, maybe it's not strongly related to Bitcoin. Obviously, it's not making new all-time highs, but it is related to Bitcoin in some way. I think they invest in Bitcoin, or whose firm is this? I forget. I know it's someone prominent, someone's prominent firm, someone who is prominent's firm, but and it's related to Bitcoin, but I forget who. Yeah. Anyways, just to put it bluntly, very, very bullish as long as you are above Thursday's low. I mean, that should be the low. All right. Job says, "Hello, good sir. Why did you end up trading crypto futures instead of stock forex?" I actually started in stocks. So I used to be my official title was why does the wrong word continue to pop up in my mind? Okay, my official title was a market maker authorized trader, which means that I essentially was making quotes for equity options. So that's actually where I started. And I did that for the first, it depends where you kind of start it from, but I would say 5 years out of college. I'd been looking at it for 10 years prior to that and being a clerk for my father, who was also a trader much before that as well. But I did that for the first 5 years, and it gave me a good experience. But, in 2016, 2017, one of my friends from college hit me up and he said, "Hey, you got to look at Bitcoin and crypto because it's doing something crazy right now." And I did. And just to put it fucking bluntly, man, just to put it bluntly, there was more potential for Bitcoin to make a shit ton more money. That's really all that it came down to. That's what I thought at the beginning. And that is true for sure. I mean, shit, you can just fucking hold Bitcoin and probably do pretty well over time. So, it is theoretically easier. And it also plays rather technically as well. Forex I played around with in the past. I'm not it's fine. It's fine. I'm just not as good as I am crypto because I've been studying crypto now the longest. So yeah. Anyways, Austin Conqueror says, "First time interacting, long time listener. Awesome, man. What's the easiest, simplest way to have a bias for bullish or bearish 1 to 3 day trades, preferably free on TV?" What? I don't understand what you're asking, to be honest. What's the simplest way to have a bullish or bearish bias trend? I mean, would be it you're talking about over the next 3 days. It's going to depend what price action is doing. I mean, the trend for the next 3 days might really only be related to the 6-hour time frame. I'm not putting too much thought into this right now, but I'd be looking at the trend on probably a 6 or 12-hour time frame, and that would be my bias for just direction, bullish or bearish, if that's what you mean by that. Use BBWP and momentum. You mean stochastic momentum. No, I wouldn't use that for. Well, it depends. Like if you are a short-term scalper, then the stochastic momentum of like a 12-hour time frame probably does relate rather well to the next 3 days. So it depends. It really depends on what your strategy is. Anyways, follow up would be nice to give a simple parameters in both uptrend and downtrend. Nothing too fancy. Again, just yeah, I think I already did that. Anyways, Myth Reindeer, how's the winter going? Like I said, it's fucking pitch white outside right now. It's actually really cool. It's really beautiful looking. I was thinking about converting some weak alts that I hold into the stronger ones. Talking about alt Bitcoin pairs, but then I'm worried that I will basically do it on their bottoms and convert into strong ones on their tops. Any tips on how not to fuck it up, and if maybe I just have to hold and overthink it less? It comes down to preference, right? Like if you're already in the strong alts and you're just adding to them, I mean, that would be the traditional sort of asset manager way of doing things. It's like you sell your losers, you buy your winners. That's just it. You don't really put much thought into it other than that. Not because, you're destined to make a shit ton more money with the winners. It's just you want to get out of the losers more importantly. But that's how big asset money managers think. I mean, it could be that your shitty alts will get small bounces. I don't know which ones that you have. I'd say if your shitty alts have not even bounced like halfway to their prior all-time high, probably really, really bad. If they've actually not seen a monthly uptrend or a weekly uptrend, probably not the ones that you want to be in. You're probably still going to have more potential from the stronger ones. Anyways, Miner dude, what's up, man? Oh, holy shit! Good to see you around, sir. Still watching you every day. Fuck yeah, dude. Hope you and Elsa are living your best lives. It's a cold life right now, I will say. I still heart Ethereum, so weekly and monthly, please. Yes, I think you might be the only person who cares about Ethereum anymore. I'm joking, obviously, but yeah. As far as Ethereum goes here, let's see where we're at in the grand scheme of things. Okay, it does look to me like Ethereum is putting in a weekly, or at least it's definitely trying to put in a weekly high or low here. See what the monthly looks like. Yeah. If you're bullish, I mean, that has to be the low. It has to be the low. Yeah. I think it's up from here, man. I see a reconnect with the 5 exponential. I see monthly momentum turning onto the upside above 3,029. I see the monthly actually flipping into a real uptrend. I don't think you need to overthink it more than that. Of course, there's going to be ebbs and flows along the way, but I think that this probably is the move here. I mean, at least it's very obvious to figure out if it's not. if it trades below this month's low, I mean, we're fucking 4 days into this month. But if it trades below this month's low, I mean, that's going to be a concerning thing and would open up the door for a correction to like 2,800. But until that happens, I mean, just follow the trend. And I think this one, probably trades sideways from here, but very likely resolves to the upside. So yeah. All right. Back onto it. We have Cabron 666, another OG. Let me just make sure. Okay, yes, it's working over here. All right. Hello, sir. With a very small part of my portfolio, I want to jump on the hype train quantum computing stocks. To my knowledge, there's 4 dedicated players in the field. Okay. All of these stocks did skyrocket in the last few weeks. How would you deploy your capital in such a potential runaway market, which can also at any time retrace very much? Difficult. Let's look at an actual chart and then give an example. Perhaps that's going to be better. RGT. Rigetti. Okay. Yeah, I agree. These have gone absolutely fucking lunar, huh? Traded from $1.50 to basically $20. I do think that you're seeing a blow off top here. When I see weekly BBWP get up to extremes like this, you're very likely looking at very, 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 very close to the high, if not already the highs in. When I go over here to the weekly, it's possible that this one does spike higher first, but I do think that you're in for a corrective period relatively soon after that. And as far as, judging pullback targets for that, well, I would just use a simple Fibonacci retracement here. The 382 level is going to be at $13. I mean, that's a tremendously massive move, by the way, from like 20 to 13, especially for a stock. 50% level is at 1084. So, one of those two ones would be kind of where I'd be interested in. If I wanted to get a position on a pullback. The thing is that you're not guaranteed to get a pullback. And like I said, it might spike higher first, which would obviously drag up the pullback targets, maybe closer to like $15 and $12 or something like that. But yeah. I do agree that you've probably seen a major high on these already, or it's very fucking close to it, like maybe shallow 20s, it gets another try and then comes down. And at those places, I'd be interested in playing a position, if I had to. So, yeah. Anyways. And I probably would still go with whatever the strongest one is of these four options that you gave, and I'll just map out pullback targets for that. Doesn't need to be much more complicated than that, Anyways, Hash says, "Hey Crown, good sir, would you be kind enough to look at PDI with what the fuck? If it's on TradingView, sure. If it's not, then no. PDI." Not on TradingView. So I think we're going to have to not look at that today. Oh, there we go. All right. Mr. Barash says, "Hello, sir. Thanks for your daily videos. All good, sir. Could you please take a look at Ethereum? I think we did that earlier, so all good. Closed above 382, low BBWP. Yeah. Well, I think I'm probably late to this conversation here. This was from the 28th, but I'd say, well, let's look at where things were at on the 28th. 28th price was right here. Yeah, 3,400. So yeah, essentially just put in a higher low here. Have a bit of an Adam and Steve pattern going on. I think it at least hits the range highs at like 3,700 and then perhaps pulls back a little bit. But yeah, I think you're on the right side of that trade. Anyway, Symbol MS says, "Hello, Sir Crown. Happy New Year to you as well, sir. Could you please do analysis on BNB on the daily and weekly?" Okay, let's check it out. How are we doing on time? 36 minutes into this bitch. All right, BNB. I haven't actually charted this in a very long time. No one's really asked about it, to be honest. This is an example of a strong alt. I mean, it's made new all-time highs this cycle. It's been around for multiple cycles. These are all really good signs. As far as this one goes, just looking for it to trade, to continue one more move to the upside at least. Trade's fucking weird, this thing, I will say. Other than that, let me get to the actual question that you're asking, daily and weekly. Okay. Token of the world's most hated shady exchange. That used to be BitMEX. Not anymore though. I even still have BitMEX on my list over here. But yeah, looking at BNB, don't think that you need to make it anything super complicated. Where's your last daily high or low? Basically 640. As long as you're above there, direction is sideways and up, with maybe, short-term corrections. I mean, even on the week, I think that this one actually could just green dildo its way from here. But 640 is my line in the sand. Below 640, this thing's going to enter into a much more prolonged correction with targets maybe down to like $500 or 550, something like that. I think it's less likely, obviously, but upside more likely from here. It's just what sort of path does it take? All right. Austin Conquer, he's been here a few times now. Can you look over? Okay, he has not gotten the memo that it's one per person, but we'll look at one of these. VRAR. On NAS, why? Why? Just an example of a terrible chart, man. Yes, it did get this massive spike over here. Who knows what the fuck this thing is or what it does? Let's go to a monthly. It's just hard to love a chart like this. You're so far away from even reversing into a monthly uptrend. I mean, there's your range high. So it spiked exactly or almost exactly to the range highs and then sold back down immediately. I think ultimately this current rally will put in another lower high, but theoretically it could go up. I mean, it could go up into the $4 range, maybe even $5 and still put in a lower high and come back down. Other than that, short term should get another bounce to the upside. Yeah, I think it will bounce actually somewhere around $4 at least again, and then come back to it after that. AC says, hey, Crown, cooler daily. Are we in for correction soon or still more room to go before correction? KULR. Okay. I'm guessing this is a stock because I don't see no cryptos with this. Let me just double check. Okay. KULR. Yeah, no crypto. So I'm going to assume you mean this. Let's go to weekly. Yeah. So this one, let me go to a monthly actually. This one's selling off of the monthly range highs, but it's not really like a super bearish signal or nothing like that. I do think that, it probably will correct lower, but you got to be on high or low watch here. So, keep in mind, this is a monthly, like this can take a long time, but maybe something like this could easily come down to like $2, $2.25, which is nearly a 50% move from where it's at right now. Put in a higher low and then try and move to the upside. Yeah, I'm more inclined to say this is probably, I mean, it's at least a local high right here and likely does come back down, but I'd be on a higher low watch. So, yeah, very, very short term probably gets one more bounce around $4. Long term, I think that it probably will break this, but I think you're probably in for a correction first before it goes for the breakout. It's possible that it just green dildos this way from here, of course, but I think it's better to bet on a pullback first, just in general. Anyways, let's see. Bitcoin Buddy says we'll come back and ask him. That's actually very clever. He saved his spot, so he knew he'd get on the video, and but he didn't come back. All right, fair enough, man. Samian says, "Where's my water?" Hey, god damn it. Don't have my fucking water here. Samian says, hey, Crown, I've been watching you for quite some time. I like your straightforward analysis. I was curious, what is your reasoning for preferring shorting versus longing Bitcoin? Where are you getting that? Where are you getting that? I have said in the past that I find bear markets more fun. But that's just because, gains come faster. It's a lot more volatile typically. And a lot of the time during a bear market, I feel like I'm going against the crowd because, people naturally revert to bullishness during a bear market, especially during the beginning. And for me, there's like a fucked up pleasure that I have in fucking that up for them. But, but to be honest, but as far as like, do I prefer to long or short? I don't know. I have no preference between the two. Generally with Bitcoin, I'd rather long just because, it is generally an upside asset, but of course it depends on where we're at in the market cycle. So, but longing generally easier. Anyways, Weird Beard says, "Hey Crown, thank you for all the content. As a new trader, it really helps. Awesome, man. Would you mind giving some suggestions on how someone could define that they have a statistical edge for a strategy?" Well, that would just come down to backtesting it. You can figure that out yourself. I put out several videos on strategy templates and how to backtest from there, which you can kind of draw from. Obviously, if you have the Quant Prime service, you can literally just use that, and that's going to show if this strategy is going to be viable or not, or at least give you some direction there. So, yeah, man. That's what I'd say. First, check out the strategy breakdown playlist on this channel, and that'll give you some examples of not just strategies, but also how to test them. And then you can just apply that same methodology to whatever strategy you might be considering as well, because it sounds like you have some ideas in your head. All right. KB says, "Hey Crown, happy holidays. Thanks for the daily post videos, and welcome to our new subscriber, Alexander Ryder, Mr. Ryder, welcome to the cave, sir. Anyways, every time you say the strong alts will do good in the alt season, can you specify what you believe is a top 5 alt? Oh, I don't fucking know, man. All my friends who watch your videos always bring this up as well. I don't know what ones they are. I just know based off of this chart right here, you're going to see some fucking massively winning altcoins. You're going to see some massively winning altcoins. But when I look across the board, I do not see everything rallying it and beyond. And there's going to be more than 5, big winners, of course. It's really going to come down to sectors. I think that's a better way to think about it. Right now, the narrative is switching into AI agents and shit like that. it's a good narrative. You'll probably see some big winners from there. I think the meme narrative is mostly done. Maybe there's like one or two that are still, or like a handful that are still good. And then what was the other narrative for this cycle? It's just AI in general. You're going to see your big winners from those sectors. Not necessarily everything in those sectors is going to be a big winner, but the big winners are going to be big fucking winners, I suspect. So yeah. All right. Let's move on. 44 minutes into this bitch, and we have society. Excuse me. Been with you since 2021. You have amazing dedication. Dare I say OCD? It is OCD. I don't have dedication. I just have, I really do have OCD with this. Just wondering about the Fibbo Swanee savant history with you. How do you know each other, and who else do you respect in the industry? Seems like he's your only consistent outside contributor to the streaming. Yeah, I bring him on the channel every once in a while. Honestly, don't really know how we met. It must have been back in like 2018 or 2019. The community was just smaller. So, I think you kind of hang out on some of the live streams, or we'd interact on Twitter, something like that. And, I always just found like his takes on Twitter were interesting and usually in alignment with what I was looking at as well. And, he's also an older guy. I mean, if you're listening right now, Swanee, I don't mean like you're fucking old, but you're older than me, I assume, and you have more experience as well. So, whenever you find someone who's been doing this, I think in his case, like 20 years, 20, 30 years, I mean, that's going to be massively valuable. Massively valuable. As far as other people that I guess I respect, the Pavino brothers I think are great. I think they've been absolutely phenomenal this cycle. I mean, there's plenty of other good people out there. I don't spend my time really going on YouTube and checking it out. So I'm just not aware of them. My main disposition with my content is I want it to be fresh and not fucked around with by the perceptions or just interpretations of other people's analysis. So I try to actually limit that for myself, because I always want my content to be as unique as possible, or at least not influenced by anyone else. So yeah. Anyways, Treebeard says, "Hey, hello, sir. How much was your biggest funded account?" The fuck? What kind of question is this, man? I've never had a funded account. When I traded with my mentor under him, I traded the same account as him. I'm not going to tell you how much money we were trading, though. It was good enough. It was enough to get plenty of experience. I'll describe it this way. When I first started trading with him and I saw the numbers on the screen, like I had to wait, what? That's it. It was a lot to me at that age. But yeah, since then, if that's what you mean by funded account, but other than that, I've never had a funded account that's like funded by an external source. It's all been myself. Anyways, Moali 31 says LAI on daily. Thanks, Dad. No problem, man. LAI. Whoops. Is this an AI thing? I'm guessing probably so, based off the name. Layer AI. And yeah, daily. Okay. Yeah, don't like this one for the AIs. I mean, it probably does get a pop here. Most things are. I just don't think it's going to be like a crazy rally. But overall, you do have a pretty, I wouldn't say tight range, but you have a pretty obvious range going on here. Range highs, 2.25 cents. Range lows, about 1 cent. You just hit the range lows. Probably going to bounce at least like 50% in between these two boundaries. So maybe you go up a little bit more towards like 1.7, something like that. But I just wouldn't get excited about this thing as long as you're below, especially this last high here from, this was November, December area. As long as you're below there, there's no major threat of like a massive upside move. Now, if it does start to close above this region, there is. And this thing can actually move. It's in the right sector for a good narrative. It could easily move up to like 4.5 cents if that happens. But I think you're going to be stuck in this lower block for a while. It's just my take. Anyways, Peter Underwood says, Happy New Year, sir. Fucking Peter Underwood, baby. Wish you, the channel, all the best for 2025. Reviewing some of the trades investments I have made this year has been an eye-opener. I fell into into a few altcoin traps and made some fundamental portfolio changes to avoid that in the future. The quant prime has saved my bacon. My question for you, do you sell spot Bitcoin positions or just hedge with options and shorts? And if so, when do you scale back in during a bear market? Okay, so I need to be very careful with how I define things here because this can get like confusing, but just to be 100% clear, we're talking about long-term spot holdings. We're not talking about like day trading. We're not talking about, algo trading, nothing like that, which is generally more short-term. We're talking about the long-term Bitcoin stack. How do I protect that during downside markets? So the way that I protect that during downside markets is I would like to use options. Unfortunately, I don't trust them as much as I'd like to right now. So I do think still the best way is taking a short on a futures contract against your spot long position. And I'll do that, especially when I see the weekly trend reverse. But other than that, I just kind of let it go, man. If the daily trend reverses, I don't really care that much. Like in this current correction here, I didn't bother covering because I'm not bearish on the long term, even though on the short term I was a little bit bearish, but I'm not bearish on the long term here. So for me, it wouldn't really make sense to cover that spot long Bitcoin because that's like a multi-year long position. I mean, I've been having these positions for like many years now. So it's not unless if I see like a weekly trend shift, then I will use futures. In a perfect world, I'd use options. But right now they're still not liquid enough. I think they're starting to get pretty good, especially with, the ETFs and whatnot. You're seeing options on those, and that's really, really useful and should be good. But I still think it takes a little bit of time, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Anyways, Cryptogram 369 says, "Hey Crown, your Q&As have been very enlightening. Awesome, man. You are actually the only crypto YouTuber I watch. It keeps the foreign influence factors low and thus more consistent." Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Not necessarily just because you watch me, but it's a good idea to just keep foreign influences, as you say, at a minimum, because everyone has different preferences, different perspectives, and you might listen to someone and what they're saying is the opposite of what you are looking at, but both of you guys can be right because you're looking at different time frames, you're playing completely different strategies. It's a lot of ways that can go. Anyways, your question is, how do you know whether you really are a determined trader that is meant to do this as part of his life purpose or just a degenerate trading addict? I sometimes wonder about myself. There's a couple ways I can take this. So one, the first way, and I think probably the better way, is we all have at least some level of this pull to be a degenerate trading addict, as you say. That doesn't mean that you can't fight that off. And sometimes I fight that battle internally as well myself. When I see some of these altcoins go absolutely fucking crazy and I'm not in them, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should, allocate a little bit of money over here, blah, 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 these sort of things. And as a trader, you can feel that feeling, but not give into it. And that's how you know that you're actually on the right path, and you can develop that. I mean, yeah, there's some people who are just, something's wrong in their head. It's probably not you. If you're coming on a forum like this, you've been around in the community for a while, which I know that you have, and you've been like actually putting in effort, it's probably not you. You probably don't have like mental deficiencies. So it is theoretically possible for you to do essentially what I'm saying, which is, yes, you're going to feel these things. You're going to feel all sorts of crazy emotions, FOMO and whatnot, but you don't have to give into it. And that's where you become a professional. Well, I mean, there's many ways that you become a professional trader, but that would be one of the things that you can cultivate on your path. But just because, you have these sort of degenerate trading tendencies doesn't necessarily mean that you're destined for failure. It just means that you have something to, be aware of and work with, and just realize, like, don't fight the internal battle too much, just realize it's going to be there, but you can feel that and still do the right thing anyways, which what the right thing is. I mean, it seems very, very clear. to me that you do. Anyways, Texas Sigep says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well, man. All good. Let's see. Matt Gall says, hey, Crown, been watching since 2020. Never miss a video. Appreciate your work. Fuck yeah, dude. I'm an underground coal miner, and our company is starting to make financial cutbacks. I reckon they are forecasting the price of cooking coal to drop in the next few years. Can you take a look at ACF1, okay, on SGX? Is that Singapore? ACF1. Yeah, it is Singapore Exchange. Can't say I've looked at too many things that trade on Singapore. I mean, of course, it's in a downtrend too. You don't need me to tell you that. I do think that you're going to see some bounces along the way, but yeah, the monthly's in a downtrend as well, so it could bounce all the way up to like 300 and then come down again. That's what I'd be defensive of there. But this is a commodity, so there is or I'm guessing it's commodity, there is underlying value in this. So I suspect that it could hold on like a retest of the lows here. But for your purposes, you're asking exactly what? Super bearish below 197, right? That's really fucking bearish. I would say super bearish as long as you're below, especially about $300. As long as you have lower lows and lower highs, there's no threat of a reversal. So need to take out either produce a higher low first or a higher high first in order to even consider the possibility. Until then, it's just bearish. Doesn't mean that you can't get a pop up there. You can. Anyways, we normally lose our jobs when it sells for less than $100 a ton, hoping one day the yes. Okay. So let me below, I don't think you're going below 100, honestly, man. It also doesn't look like this thing's really gone, below 100 very often as well. But I could see something like this maybe happen. Okay, maybe not that far down. Maybe something like this. Pops up, comes down, sets in some low in like the mid 100s, and then maybe reaccumulates. Possible, yes. It is a commodity after all. All right, but yeah, I don't feel super strong on this one, I should say. Anyways, Crypto Khalifa says, morning, I hope you're well. I have caretaker's RSI indicator. When is a divergence actually confirmed? When you see a straight line, like not dotted, but straight. Oh, you're asking well, as far as caretaker's RSI goes, you actually get to define your criteria for that. So let me bring it up here. Where's my logic? Yeah. So you can choose your logic here for defining pivots, but I think there's maybe a misunderstanding here. When is a divergence actually confirmed? It's confirmed on a local high. Local highs are confirmed, or local lows, for that matter, are confirmed with this criteria right here. And I keep it on close below wick low, close above wick high. It's not always going to be perfect, but it is a pretty good fit, I would say. Anyways, moving on, we have VC says, hey, Crown, virtual coin daily and weekly. Okay, I've seen this one come up a lot recently. Virtual, I think this is one of those AI agent. Yeah, it just goes fucking moon, I guess. Crazy shit, man. Let's see. Oops. What? Why? Oh, let me get this off for now. Okay. All right. Actually, I'll put it back on. But we will collapse it. There we go. Okay. This one, let's go to a weekly. Okay. Not a ton of history here, but for the history that we do have, it is overall good. Short term, though, it does seem to have hit likely a significant high here. And I do think that it could work its way down actually to like $3.30, $3.50. Should try for a bounce there. Short term, can spend some time going sideways and probably gets one more try around like 467. But what I'd say on this one is, as long as you're below on a closing basis 484, I think you get a pop and then you get a deeper retracement and then maybe another try to the upside later on. And again, I'm just assuming this is an AI agent type thing, but I could be wrong on that as well. All right, moving on, we have Okay, there is no way we're getting to all of these comments today. Holy shit. Music Man, he says, hey, Crown, for the 5-day EMA strategy you've spoken about previously, can you go over the settings? Are they the default settings, or have you updated them? If you're in the skeleton key, then you will have them. If you're in the Quant Prime, then you'll have it. If you don't, then you don't. But it's really as simple. If memory serves me correctly, the one that I've been showing on YouTube, because the one that I show in Quant Prime is a little bit more optimized, but the one that I show on YouTube is just close above the 5 exponential on the 5-day, open long, close below, close it. That's it. That's literally it. Anyways, actually, did the Epic trade close over here recently? I think it did. Yeah, it did, because the 5-day did close below that red moving average. Yeah, so that was a pretty epic trade from about 62,000 to a closing price of 93. Not bad. I'll take it. Anyways, all right, let me scroll down here. Theo Easter Eggs says, hey, Sir Crown, what's up, man? I've been following your videos since 2021. A lot of people from 2021. That's good. And they've been an incredible learning experience. Awesome, man. I'm glad that you enjoy it, man. I had a question about the current market trends. The recent pumps in narratives like AI ecosystems and AI meme coins seems intriguing. Do you think these are shaping up to be the new strong? Yeah, I think exactly that. Yeah. We just looked at virtual, so I guess it is an AI thing. So overall strong. There's going to be corrections, obviously. There's going to be very deep corrections in extremely volatile assets like this, but don't fade the strong narrative until it's all over. I don't think it's over yet. So we'll see. Again, that can take some time to play out, because I think this thing has hit like a probably pretty significant high right here. This thing went on, how big of a run? Okay, yeah, over 1,300%. Okay. Pearson says, does Elsa like more Rope hints or Miko Rantanen? Don't fucking know. Genesis 16, like random Finnish names. Genesis 69 says, sir, thanks much for sharing your wisdom. All good, sir. I'll try my best, I guess. Could you take a look at GPU Node AI? Okay, let's check it out. GPU. Yeah, again, another AI thing, I'm guessing by the name, and decent. I don't know if it's necessarily ready to like green dildo its way exactly from here. Maybe it does trade up towards like $2 first. But overall, this thing is in a good place. Again, I don't want to complicate things unnecessarily. As long as you're above that last higher low, which is 1.25, essentially, the direction is up. It just depends on like what sort of trajectory this is going to look like. Does it pull back again from 186, set another higher low, and then try again to the upside? Does it just green its way from here and pull back later? I don't know that, but overall, I'd be bullish on this thing again as long as you're above 1.25. Looking at the weekly, this thing really could green dildo from here, I guess. But I'd want to see a closure on a daily above like 186 first. Cool. Cousin Burley, yep, we got that. So all good. Or you posted one here. We can look at Tesla really quick. I'm curious. Or MicroStrategy actually would be maybe more relevant. Big bounce off of the weekly 21. Okay, not bad. Do you think that this bounce can carry on further up, like 390, maybe 400? Yeah, looking at the monthly here, it's like if you're bullish, you kind of have to think that the low is in already, because if it does take out the current low, I mean, that opens up a much deeper correction to like 220. For right now, I mean, the way that it's acting, if you're going to be bullish, you want this to be the low. You really don't want to see it actually lower than this week's low. So I'd run with the assumption that it is still bullish and that this is the low, and it'll trade sideways here and then try another move to the upside. But I'd switch that around fucking fast if it takes out this week's low, because that's a big assumption there, really big assumption. All right. Let's see. Okay, we're even over an hour now. I'll do a couple more and then we'll call it a day. There's a lot more though. Holy shit. MMT says, sir, longtime subscriber from England. Fuck yeah. Our English brothers are here. Hope 2025 is a blessed year. Can you please look at Mishi? Okay. Whoops. Mishi. Okay, it's a new one, I guess. Has it bottomed? I mean, maybe it's bottomed out, but take this example. If I have a rock and I throw it off my balcony to the ground, it's hit the bottom, but it doesn't really bounce that much. I think that's kind of what you get with something like this. I mean, this thing can easily move it to like 20 cents. I mean, shit, it could even move to like a quarter, but not a big fan of a chart like this. Do I think it's bottomed? I think it's hit a major bottom here and will trade sideways and up. But it can range on these lows after a little bit of an extension of this upside move for a while. There's no guarantee, by the way, that this part happens over here where it starts going lunar, but yeah. Anyway, let's see. Tom BJ says, hey, Crown, do you think the 18.6-year cycle in property and stocks, which predicts a recession in 2026 to 2027, has any validity? Well, my opinion is unnecessary on that because it's proven to have validity over time. I guess the real question is it going to play out this time? It lines up with my general ideas on this market as well. So I would have to say, I think it does. Yeah, take it as you will. ZJM says, hello, Mr. Sir Crypto Crown. If you somehow get to this message, I have. Will you do a review of SPS 6900? Okay. It is a thing indeed. An example of a strong altcoin. I think this is a meme coin. Again, I do think that you probably hit a short-term high right here, but any pullback is a high or low, especially as long as you're above $1. And this thing's at 130, so 30% above there. So, it can pull back over the next few days, set in a higher low. I mean, could come theoretically all the way down to $1, but kind of have to be looking at that as the next major low. The weekly is just bullish here, so retracements should be bought for now, at least. Shit, maybe even the 4 hour does continue from here, but I'd be of the opinion that 4 hours spends a little bit of time going sideways, pops down, higher low, and then try to move to the upside. I've kind of said the same thing for many of these altcoins on today's video. Again, I can be massively wrong on that, and things just fucking green dildo their way to the moon and beyond from here. But I still think it's better to be a little bit more defensive to open up January than not. Okay, Kim B says, how do you set up a stop loss on a closing basis per time frame? You can actually do that with the Quant Prime service. If you're talking about on an exchange, you can't, at least to my knowledge, you can't set up a time-based close or stop loss, I guess. Are there trading platforms that let you do this, or do you need API connecting software? Yeah, you need that. You actually already have it. Quant Prime lets you do it. Can you please show how to set up a stop loss on a closing? Are you in the Quant Prime? Because this should be really fucking obvious to you if it is. If you are, how do you set up a stop loss on it? Well, should I even go over this? It's pretty obvious how to do with the Quant Prime service, just because all of the criteria have exit conditions, and well, if that's met, then it will exit on the closure. That's exactly how it does it. All right. I think we'll do a couple more, then we call it a day. Okay, Volpes says, greetings, sir. My question is about XRP BTC. Okay. XRP BTC. Actually doing pretty well here versus Bitcoin. I'd actually really like to look at the US dollar. I know you didn't ask for this, but I think it's just a little bit of an easier chart to analyze. Let's go to a daily perhaps. Sorry, I was on a 4 hour time frame, so I don't know if I have to retract the prior statement. Okay. Still ranging here for a while. Kind of said the same thing on this one as we have for a while. It's very interesting to me to see that this thing has held $2 so well. You'd think that XRP would puke at the first chance. Again, similar to Bitcoin, I think that you can extend this rally a little bit more, maybe even hits the top side here at 275, but I do think you swing back down again, probably for a higher low, because we don't necessarily have a higher low in just yet, and then try an actual upside move. Again, if I'm wrong, it just does something like that, but I think this is still more reasonable as far as an expectation. Not that you can really have expectations. So yeah, bullish as long as you're above $2, below $2, it's going to do an XRP correction, which means that it literally craters like 50% for the next 5 years. Something like that, man. Anyways, Lucas Second says, hey, Crank, can you possibly do another update on Canadian dollar versus US dollar? Yeah, sure. I like looking at Forex as always. I think it's quite difficult, but I do like looking at it. Bearish as fuck, man. Very likely to retest officially these prior lows that you've seen over the past almost 10 years. You know, I do think that you will spike somewhere down around here, like low 68 cents. There should be another bounce from there, but you know, this thing isn't a macro downtrend, and you know, a bounce theoretically is more likely to lead towards yet another lower high, and maybe it even does break on the next test. You know, could be something like that. So yeah, we'll see. All right, let's have the last two ones here. Den says, can you look at NEO USD? Is it possible to hit $100 at all in this bull run? Anything's possible, but is it probable? Let's check it out. I don't think anyone's asked about this in quite some time, so this is fresh eyes for me. I do think that it will trade up from here. I think it could even trade up towards like 40, 50, 60 bucks. $100? I'd have to say no. I don't think so. I think it's very unlikely. Look, I'll put it this way. As long as you're below $69, there is no hopium for $100. I mean, shit, even getting past like $32 is going to be difficult for this thing, I think. But, you know, should have an upside move from here. Ultimately, the long-term trend is down. Down as usual. Okay, Sporty says, hello, Crown. What do you think about the HSI Hang Seng Index? Can this hit 22K? I don't know. Let's check it out. Can it hit 22? Okay, so that would be an upside move from here. I mean, like, I think it will at some point, but how long can that take? It just sold off from essentially that region, 22,500. So I think you're in a bit of a downturn here. Maybe it trades a little bit further south towards 1,800, but this is shaping up to be a major low right here, I think. Quarterly, yeah, maybe short term it swings back down, but I'd just be looking for a higher low there. I do think that this one will trade back around your 22,000 level. It's just what time frame is that? Is that on? I mean, that could be like sometime in the next year. You know, it's not very helpful, but it is what it is when you're doing higher term time frame analysis. All right. Holy shit, we're 1 hour and 11 minutes into this. I've gotten to like half of the Discord questions. It looks like, it looks like that's just what it has to be for today, because my voice is leaving me right now and I need to desperately go to the gym as well. So we'll end things right there. I have some pretty exciting announcements regarding the Quant Prime service, which I'll probably release early this coming week. And yeah, on that note, I'd like to wish everyone the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully Sunday.